Am I the a-hole for telling my husband to stop disrespecting our surrogate? Me, female 34, and my husband, Hunter, male 37, suffered from fertility problems. We recently decided to get a surrogate who's a friend of a friend. We were busy getting everything done legally, and we already had a contract in place. My egg was used, so no worries in this regard. Plus, our surrogate is a respectful, kind woman who's been keeping her part of the contract intact. But it's Hunter who's starting to act strange. I've noticed that he's been focusing all his attention on our surrogate, like skipping work to visit her or get her things she didn't ask for, chat with her all the time on social media, and also constantly offering to do things for her, like drive her places, and sometimes even invite her out or offer to repair stuff for her. She complained to me about this, and even told me about things he's been doing that I didn't even know about, like bringing her gifts. I tried speaking to him about what this looks like, but he said that he's doing what he's doing for his son and not her. Still, I asked that he tone it down and respect the woman's space. He got mad at me and accused me of being jealous of the woman who's carrying my own child and said that this makes me look bad. I said our surrogate was the one who complained about his behavior, and he said that this wasn't true. Apparently, this made him somewhat angry, so I gave him time to cool down a bit. Yesterday, our surrogate called me saying that Hunter came over and told her guests to leave. I asked why, and she said that he wanted to show her the $9,000 car he bought for her. I was shocked. She said she declined the car and asked him to leave, but he started arguing with her about using public transportation and risking our baby's well-being. I was fuming. I called him demanding to get home, and he did eventually. Once he got back, I picked up a fight with him and yelled at him saying that he's been nothing but overstepping, disrespectful and inappropriate towards our surrogate. Again, he explained that the car wasn't for her but to ensure that the baby's safe. I told him to stop disrespecting the woman and stop using the baby as an excuse to stomp all over her boundaries. He ranted about how he was just trying to make this work and that I should do the same if not more. He even accused me of not loving our son as much as he does. But this isn't the way. And putting $9,000 for a car without telling me? He left the house for a while, then came back and refused to speak to me. I might have been hard on him. He might have just been oblivious. So I'm less sure seeing his reaction now. Now for the top comments. Not stay home. This is upsetting behavior. It's one of two things. One, he has a crush on her, or two, he thinks he has the right to police pregnant women's bodies. It's inappropriate regardless. You should quietly assist her in getting an attorney to draft a cease and desist letter to him. You may or may not get the baby, but frankly, I'm not sure your marriage, specifically just your husband and his odd behavior, none of your doing, is in a place to need a baby right now. Eileen is the second. He wants to completely control this woman because he is the father of the baby. And he will control every move Opie makes when the child is born and in their care. Can't drive in a car, too dangerous. Feed it this, not that. Can't go there, can't do that. Not stay home. Reading that creeped me out on a deep level. He sounds like a stalker that's obsessed. Does he not realize that stressing her out by being intense and domineering could harm the baby? He needs help and possibly a restraining order. Agreed. It gave me the creeps. A 37-year-old that can't understand how he isn't respecting another person's boundaries is a red flag. Not stay home. He's actually endangering the successful arrival of your son because he's not only causing stress to your surrogate, he's also making her so uncomfortable that she might seek legal recourse to break the contract. Maybe schedule a formal meeting with lawyers and her surrogate so she can express her needs officially? That might be a way for your husband to actually see the severity of his behavior. I feel for the horrible position Opie's in, but I have to mention here that it'd be pretty freaking monstrous of her if she in a way tried to prevent her surrogates breaking the contract, should she, very rationally, decide to. Imagine being in a position where you are legally bound to carry your stalker's fetus to term. I'd terminate it by whatever means necessary. Next story. Am I the a-hole for ditching my wife at the mall because she was taking too long? I'm a 34-year-old man and my wife is 29. We have been married for 5 years. Since we started dating, she has always taken her sweet time doing everything. Getting dressed, doing her makeup, Eating, whatever it is, she takes forever. I'm generally a patient person, but I get extremely anxious when I'm late for something with a scheduled starting time. Alone, I've never been late for anything. With her in tow, I'm late for everything. The most frustrating thing about this is that she seemingly has no ability to comprehend that she's making people wait. If I even suggest that she move a little faster, she gets really defensive. A few years ago, one of her best friends dumped her because she was tired of her chronic lateness. Last night, we went out to see a movie. Getting to the mall before the movie started was a battle itself. But miraculously, with the prospect of doing some shopping before it, she was able to gather her necessary belongings and get there with time to spare. She started shopping while I more or less followed her until it was about time to get to the theater. When I told her this, she was talking to a sales clerk about the clothes that she wanted to buy and she told me to hang on for a second. As usual, hang on meant I have absolutely no concern about her needs because I'm doing my own thing right now and anything other than what I want to do is out of the question. I waited around for a couple more minutes until she started taking jeans off the shelves to try new combinations. The previews had already started. I told her again and she said we can just skip the previews. At this point, I just walked away, which she naturally didn't notice, turned off my phone, and enjoyed the movie myself. As a side note, I missed the first few minutes of it waiting for her, standing in line and making my way to the theater. On my way out of the theater, I saw her on a bench in the lobby beside herself because I ditched her. I honestly didn't feel bad at all and told her that I'd do it again. This made her more upset, and finally, we had an awkward, quiet drive home. Apparently, she was actually looking forward to the movie too. Was I the a-hole in this situation? I felt it was supposed to be tough love, but she seems really hurt. Not the a-hole. This is what you have to do moving forward. Tell her that you're leaving in 15 minutes and follow through. One warning, then go. Stop discussing and explaining. Start showing. Though in the future, send a text, I'm at the movie and I'm sitting center right. Turning phone off now. This is exactly what my parents did with my older sister when I was little and she got old enough to drive. The family's leaving at 6. We'd love it if you could make it. People who are constantly late like this have absolutely zero respect for anyone else. Not the a-hole, and sometimes this is just how you have to manage to be on time to things living with a chronically late person. Yes, it's not chronic lateness, it's chronic disrespect for OP's time. Which is most definitely the a-hole. Opie's not the a-hole. She knows she's chronically late and makes no attempts to change that. She's putting her wants ahead of other people's without consideration for their feelings. She's disrespecting Opie's time and takes his patience for granted. He disregarded his suggestions and requests completely, trying on jeans when she's already late. She doesn't take Opie into account when doing things her way, but is mad at him for doing something on time. Not the a-hole. Initially, I was sympathetic to your wife as someone who's also chronically late. However, when you described that her response to you informing her the previews are starting was to go try on more jeans, I lost all sympathy. That's not chronic lateness, that's chronic disrespect for other people's time. Not the a-hole. Chronically late people that have no issue ruining other people's plans because they live in their own self-centered world need to realize that, shockingly, the world doesn't in fact revolve around them. I honestly don't know how you've put up with it for so long. That type of disrespect would drive me bananas. Next story is titled, Am I the a-hole for not telling my husband that I am pregnant before I told other people? My husband, 37 male, and I, 38 female, have been married for 6 years and have a 3-year-old son. For the past couple years, we have been on the fence about trying for a second kid. With everything going on in the world and both of us approaching 40, we just weren't sure if we had it in us to have another one, and we knew that we both wanted to be 100% into it if we did. But we both grew up with siblings and wanted our son to have that experience as well. However, my husband got laid off about 4 months ago, and that was kind of the final nail in our decision-making, and we decided that he would get a vasectomy. With the stress of the holidays after his layoff and a time-consuming job search, he procrastinated on scheduling an appointment. He finally got around to scheduling one about a month ago. Well, turns out that a couple weeks ago, I noticed I had missed my last period. With everything else going on, I completely spaced it out. I took a pregnancy test and it came back positive. It was definitely a surprise. And at first, I was overjoyed, but then I remembered that my husband had literally gotten the snip only a couple weeks before. I made an appointment with my doctor, and sure enough, I was about 10 weeks along. I didn't know how to tell my husband or how he would take it, considering everything else that we had going on, so I told my mom and talked to her about it. She didn't give the best advice, so I talked with my two best friends about it too. They gave better advice, and the next day I told my husband. He was happy and supportive, and just kept saying that he would make it work, and not to worry about anything other than our growing family. This past weekend, we had some friends over, including the friends I talked to about a pregnancy. After we had dinner, my two friends were talking with my husband and I overheard one make a comment about how happy they both are that my husband took the news so well considering everything else we are going through. He played it off well, but I saw him shoot me a look. After everyone left, he confronted me about it and asked what my friend meant by that. I told him that I talked with him and my mom about how to tell him I was pregnant because I wasn't sure how he would take it. He got upset that he was the second person to know this very personal and life-changing bit of information. I tried to explain that I was worried he wouldn't be as happy as he is because he literally got his vasectomy 2 weeks earlier and is still job searching. He told me that I should know him better than to think he wouldn't be happy and said he was offended that I would assume otherwise. I apologized and he seemed to accept it, but I could tell that he wasn't happy about it and that his feelings were hurt. I was just so confused and I needed to talk to someone. Was it an a-hole move? How could he not be hurt? He is the father, literally half of what is growing inside you. I understand your concern about telling him, but you owed it to him to be the first. You're the a-hole. Softly, but there it is. You're the a-hole for sure. And look at his reaction to learning this. He didn't freak in the moment, but addressed it at a time when they were alone. He didn't mind that she talked with her mom first. If that's what Opie meant by second, it was unclear. He took the actual news well. He accepted her apology. The dude sounds like a legitimate good guy. Opie, on the other hand, has a lot to learn about consideration for other people. You're the a-hole. You've been married for 6 years, and you already have a kid together. No matter if he would get sad or happy, he should hear it first, and you'd have to figure it out together. This isn't the time to keep secrets from each other because you're scared of how you're going to react. And if it would be the other way around, you would have been hurt and probably mad if he wouldn't have told you, if roles were reversed. No a-holes here. His feelings are understandable and legit. I can see feeling a little upset that my wife felt that she couldn't talk to me about something like this. On the other hand, I get how you were feeling and needing to talk to someone about it. I think you owe your friends a sharp kick in the shins though. They should have kept their mouths shut. Acknowledge his feelings, but don't downplay yours and it will eventually blow over. If you try to marginalize his, it will blow up, believe me. Last story. Am I the a-hole because I don't want my brother to enter my house? I think some context is necessary here. My parents are divorced. My mom lives at another state. I have my own house and my dad lives with my younger brother at a different city where I grew up. Matter of fact, me and my brother hate each other, and I'm not kidding. He uses every opportunity he gets to make a joke and defend me in front of our family and his friends. Because of the pandemic, my dad asked me to come back to their home. He was afraid, so I accepted and stayed for almost 2 years because I love my dad. My brother made my life miserable, and it was so awful that I said to my dad's face that I'll never come back to that house again. So let's go to the history. My mom comes to visit me once a year. Last time she came, my brother came here to see her and he insulted me so bad that I had to get him out of my house. The whole situation gave me a panic attack. Months before my mom's arrival this year, I warned her several times that I do not want that guy at my house. She could meet him at a beach, the mall, whatever, I don't care, but I don't want him around me. But one day, I came from work and he was here. She let him in. For the next days, she would force me to let him come and making me go out with him, saying that I miss both of you, he is my son too, you guys must get along, and it's my only time of the year with you, can't you just ignore his insults? Because yes, he was doing that. 5 days of that. It's gone by now, but me and my mom have been fighting over this. She says that I'm an a-hole for not considering her feelings, and because I ruined the meetings with my bad humor. The whole family is saying that I should shut up and swallow it because my brother and her deserve time together. Am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole. Tell her that she can visit your brother at her father's place. When she says she doesn't want to see your father, tell her to shut up and swallow it because she deserves time with her son. I like this solution. Not the a-hole. Your mother and brother are though. Your brother for obvious reasons. Your mother because she is allowing her son to mistreat you because of her own selfish wants, not needs. She doesn't need to see you together. She just wants to. Opie, learn to stick to your no. Anything she brings up after that should be met with a I said no. I would say to Dad too. Opie was subject to her brother's abuse for 2 years in Dad's house and he allowed it. Also, the entire family for saying that Opie should just put up with it. I wonder if any of them ever stuck up for Opie when they were humiliated in front of the family. To be honest, it sounds like this is a golden child and scapegoat dynamic. I know this is going to sound like victim blaming because it is, but you're kind of the a-hole to yourself. You allowed yourself to be mistreated for 2 years because you love your dad. Your dad, I'm sure, loves you, but not enough to stop his toxic son from tormenting you. You could have left any time, but martyred yourself for 2 years. Your mom didn't force you to let your brother in. She coerced you, probably by guilt tripping. I get how powerful emotional terrorism is, because you could have asked your brother to leave and even have asked your mom to cut her visit short. That way, you could have established a boundary and sent a clear message. Not stay home. Don't get me wrong, your family are the main a-holes. Your mom can see your brother elsewhere. You don't get disrespected in your own house. That is your safe space. If your mom keeps arguing with you, can I suggest asking her to leave until she can respect your authority in your own house? You need to change your relationship dynamic with your family, and that requires actions, not words.